As we reconvene here on a suddenly not so casual free Friday night, October 15, 2021. It is week 7 college football, knowledge for college. It is Sharks and Sports, Sharky Waters Nation, 9 words of lifestyle, ride the wave or get out of the water. It is the legend in the making, a college football consigliere, Guns Picks, a.k.a. The Gun. We have top picks, we have hype, we have analysis, we have all the talking points, numbers, and narratives. Guns Picks. How are you feeling on a suddenly not so casual free Friday evening?
Man, I am ready for the week 7 slate. We're starting to get the statistics. We're starting to learn what teams are. Listen, I had a bad week. Everybody has a bad week once in a while, but I'm ready to bounce back. And when I bounce back strong. And I'm looking at this slate, and I am loving everything about these the games that we're going to be talking about today. So let's get to it. Let's start. Let's roll.
Yeah, of course. We are going straight business. I'm resharing this now. We want more people in here to share the abundance, the wealth, the respect, and the opportunity to dominate. And we go 12 p.m., an SEC battle. Guns Picks has an interesting take here. We were talking about it off the record. We are talking about Texas A&M coming in here to Missouri off of the biggest win of the Jimbo Fisher era by a mile. One of the biggest wins in program history, one of the biggest shocks in the last 5 to 10 years in Division 1A college football. Guns Picks, Texas A&M at Missouri. Your take, please.
Listen, you can look at this 2 ways. You can look at this as a letdown spot, or you can look at this as a rebirth. I look at this as a rebirth because guess what? Texas A&M has already lost 2 games. It's not like they're playing for the college football preview or anything like that, or actually college football playoffs for that matter. This is the rebirth of Texas A&M. They have a 2-pronged attack in the backfield with Isaiah Spiller, 5.8 yards per carry, Devon A-Chain, 6.6 yards per carry. Guess what? Missouri, they can't stop the run. They give up 6.1 yards per carry. That is the worst in college football. Now you got to look at what Missouri does. They are on a 9-game ATS losing streak. You have Jimbo Fisher, 6-0 as an away favorite. He's already had his 2 losses, but guess what? Those weren't away. Those were at neutral sites. So I like the situation for Texas A&M. They have a very reasonable schedule going out. And guess what? He's probably telling his team, look, this is what's going to happen. We're going to win out. Alabama's going to fall somewhere, and we're going to be in the SEC championship. So get on the horse. Let's crush everybody. Give me A&M -10 as the play.
Yeah, this is a no play for me, but I think it's a very interesting dynamic. Of course, I think people are going to – a lot of contrarianism here theoretically would fade Texas A&M off that. As you said, Missouri has been unable to cover games. I think one great reference point to your point here, go back 2 weeks, a home game against Tennessee in conference, a very short number there. They got absolutely obliterated, 62-24. As you said, they're showing a sustainability to not cover. We'll see if that continues. We're taking this from the best product potentially in D1A football to one of the sketchiest. However, we like consistency to the inconsistency, and what showcases that at the highest level? More lack of regulation. We go high school football, we go FCS football, then we go to MAC football. We have a 4-pack of plays. I'm going to start with my first one. Eastern Michigan +1 at home. Eastern Michigan did beat Miami, Ohio last week, but we're really looking at the other side of the aisle here. Ball State comes in here off of a blowout victory at Western Michigan. Western Michigan generally regarded as the class of the MAC, 45-20 as an underdog last week. Talk about out showcasing any talent you have in any sort of sustainable quality. You also get a revenge game from last year. Ball State did clean them up 38-31 at home in a much higher scoring game without fans in 2020. We talk about this all the time. Divisional line moving averages year to year. It should be 3. Ball State laid 9 points at home. They lay 1 here. It should be 7-6. It's ultra short. It's a great fade of Ball State, who is situationally hot. They're a little bit too hot coming into the game in the past couple weeks and on the campaign in general. And EMU has really reinvented themselves this year. Much better defense, much better ball control. The total's coming down from that 69-point output, suggesting the environment will shift to a lower scoring game. I think EMU wins the game outright, and I think this is a top graded play at 2 p.m. in the MAC per the Shark. 3:30 p.m., Bowling Green, Guns Picks. Last week, you had this incorrectly. I think you are staying the course with a good idea. Talk to him.
So I look at this as a situational play. You have Bowling Green coming off a straight-up loss as a double-digit favorite. Now you got Northern Illinois coming off a straight-up win as a double-digit dog to Toledo. Let's flip it around here. You have Bowling Green undervalued. Listen, they played a very tough schedule. They played good against their competition. Listen, they don't lose by much. They actually beat Minnesota, a P5 team, outright, and also lost straight up to Southern Alabama only by 3 points and Kent State only by 7. This team can keep up with you. And I found an interesting stat with Northern Illinois. They have not beaten anybody by more than 7 points since 2018. I'm getting 9.5 in this spot here. And Bowling Green is 3-0 against the spread as an away dog on top of that. So with all that being said, all the statistics supplied, give me Bowling Green plus 9.5 off a straight up loss as a double-digit favorite.
Yeah, and jumping off that point, I'm going to the other side of what happened last week. Of course, Akron did win that game as a significant underdog in what really was a showcase to the low level of the MAC. These two teams have been awful the last 4 years. I think that game ultimately was a bit of a coin flip. And of course, Bowling Green played absolutely useless football. That being said, Akron played one of their best games in a long time. I'm fading that coming back this week. Miami, Ohio, minus 19.5. I think if you look at Miami of Ohio, a good corollary point outside of the division was an early season game. I believe against LIU, don't check me on that. I am free-flowing here on a suddenly not-so-casual Free Friday, but they did win the game by 35 points on a similar figure. When Miami of Ohio is graded at this environment, close to 3 touchdowns, the books have a handle on their averaging. They're telling me this is going to be a blowout. If you go to last year, Miami of Ohio did handle them on the road at minus 14.5. Again, neutral movement should be 17.5. It's 19.5. I got it yesterday. It's steamed to 20. This might get to 21. Get it now. Sharp action is on the chalk here. It's a great spot to fade Akron off of an outright win. The last point on this, the only other time Akron won this year, they beat an FBS opponent, and they came back the next week and got absolutely slaughtered by 50 points. I think you're looking at a very comfortable 21-plus point victory for Ben Roethlisberger, Wally Zerbiak, Miami of Ohio. It's going down. Next play for me, still in the MAC, final play in the MAC, Western Michigan University. We talked about it before. Came home last week in the conference opener against Ball State. First game at home off a road trip. We talk about this all the time for those of you who follow. Again, love and respect. Thank you guys for listening on this beautiful Friday night. But we talk about home game 1 off a trip and then home game 2. Home game 1 is usually the trap spot, the letdown spot, the environmental shift. Western Michigan did precisely that. They were useless from the opening kickoff, a 45-20 loss. Now they get to sit around on their home campus all week getting ready for this game against Kent State. Kent State comes in here off of a situational high, a home cover 48-38 outright win against the perennially solid, inspiring opponent in Buffalo. So you get Kent State off high, and you get Western Michigan, again, a classy team in the MAC off the ultimate low, an outright loss as a significant favorite last week. Thinking first half, I think the point of emphasis will be for them to come out and really assert their dominance from the opening kick. And the line split confirms the game is -7. This is -4. It is showing situational strength. Western Michigan, first half, 3:30 p.m., -4, 1 unit. Back to the SEC, back to top-level football. We get a ranked matchup here at Georgia, 3:30 p.m., hosting the number 11 team in the country. Not John Calipari and the boys. This is University of Kentucky football in 2021, undefeated 6-0 off a sequence of very impressive home spots. Guns, comments, and an official play.
So I'm looking at this more of a half standpoint. Now you got Georgia absolutely dominating every one of their opponents. They basically just show that anybody that goes against them, you're just pretenders. And this is another situation for Kentucky. Now, Kentucky has basically gone in there and they've beaten anyways. Listen, they had a great win at home at Florida, but now they got to go on the road. They got to go play in Athens against Georgia. And let me tell you what's going to happen here. So you got to look at Georgia in the first 6 games. They've absolutely dominated everyone. They beat their opponents by an average of 34 points per game, plus 229 net yards per game. Also, Kentucky, wants and needs and has to run the ball. They run the ball 60 to 70% of the time. And guess what Georgia does? They just absolutely swallow everybody up, every running back. I don't care how many yards per carry you get versus anybody. You're not going to get through that stout Georgia defensive line. And also, you got to look at this because I'm going to be taking the first half in this spot. They have beaten their opponents in total 147-9 in the first half. That is absolutely incredible. Absolutely dominating. Mm-hmm. You have to roll with Georgia first half. This is going to be a very public dog. Everybody taking Kentucky, but guess what Georgia's going to do? Georgia's going to punch you in the mouth early. They're going to swallow you up, and they're going to dominate you the first half, so you got nothing left. Give me Georgia first half, and I'm taking a heavy line at -13, but I'm going to take it anyways. Give me Georgia first half -13.
Yeah, and those heavy lines are a showcase to strength. We talk about it all the time. That's what I'm doing with Western Michigan. And segueing to my next play, also a heavy line split favorite, Fresno State first half -2.5. Anybody that watched the game 2 weeks ago also lost a wager with us. Jack Hayner had one of the worst games of his life. He threw 4 interceptions. He turned the ball over multiple times in the red zone. He didn't cover the first half with a pick in the red zone where they could have covered it. They came out there juiced. And Guns and I were just talking about this off the record. The trap spot for Fresno State was the UNLV home game off of a massive win prior. They played flat out awful against UNLV in a 38-30 non-cover. They actually didn't play that awful at Hawaii from a game dispersion standpoint. They outgained them almost 2-1. Hayner had 400 yards passing. The run game was up and down the field. That is what you call an outlier. When you dominate a team up and down the field at the line of scrimmage and on the edges, but you just have situational turnovers that crush you, that was not necessarily a bad effort. It was maybe a slight lack of focus, but more so an outlier. So now off of a bye week, they come back here and they go to Wyoming. And for those of you who don't know, I'm not from Wyoming. I'm going on a call with my man Champ in about 20 minutes. He is from Wyoming. He could confirm this. Wyoming and Air Force just played their big rivalry game last week. I did lose this wager. However, it was a late backdoor. Wyoming came out tied in the first half 14-all. Now they come home off of the loss, off of a first half cover, and they catch Fresno State here, coming in here off of an absolutely putrid loss to Hawaii and 2 weeks to sit around thinking about it. Jack Hayner is an NFL prospect. He throws a fucking dime. He will be ready to go, and the line split confirms. -2.5 on a -3.5. The percentage is there for a reason. Official from me, Fresno State, 3:30 p.m. at Wyoming, first half, -2.5. Now I throw it to Guns, who will tell you why the game side is a lean to Wyoming.
I don't hate your take on the first half, by the way. Yes, Fresno could come out and blow the doors off them first half to kind of get some separation, but they're playing at Wyoming. Wyoming is not a road team. They are a home team. And the reason is you're playing in the elevations. You're breathing oxygen. A lot of college players are just not used to the elements. And that shows in their against the spread record. And 10-4 is a home dog, Wyoming is. And they've covered 11 straight overall. That's what they've done at home. This is their third home game of the season. They played week 1 and they played week 3. Week 3 was their only FBS opponent. They blew the doors off of Ball State 45-12 with a +118 net yard average. Granted, it's a MAC team. I understand that Fresno is on a different level, but you're playing in elements that are a little bit colder this time with playing up in Laramie. 49 degrees by game time, a little bit breezy, and you got to deal with the altitude. Also, you got to look for Fresno. Fresno's got a look-ahead game in the spot. Granted, they are coming off a bye. They're playing Nevada next week. Nevada is the upper epsilon with Fresno State, 1A, 1B. And guess what? Fresno lost to Nevada in 2 straight matchups. So that's a revenge game coming up. So look for Fresno maybe next week. But I don't think this is going to be the game for them. I think Wyoming is going to control the game overall. Maybe not the first half. So I'm going to go with Wyoming +3.5 as the play.
And you see, one of the beautiful things we talk about this all the time, conversation always wins. Mild disagreement, but all respect to Guns. We get off the air, we sit here and chat about it. We love you guys for the interactions. Let's continue working on this beautiful Friday night. 7 p.m., my final play, Stanford -1 at Wazoo. I opened this broadcast describing a game with EMU, which was a massive line move, -9 to -1. This gets even better. Of course, there was no matchup last year during a tumultuous 2020 COVID-driven campaign. Go back to November 16th, 2019. At Washington State, Stanford was down that year. They were +12, and they got blown out 49-22. The line told the story. So we come back here 2 years later. The same team that got blown out on a 12 opens up as a favorite. The books are telling you a great story, and then you go deeper into the analysis of it. Wazoo is frankly just way too hot. Last week, they did backdoor Oregon State. It was tied in the fourth quarter. It was a one-possession game. They were 3.5-point underdog. They won outright as an underdog there. The previous week, they also won at Cal as an underdog. They're 3-0 ATS last 3 in conference. I believe they're undefeated ATS in conference. They're due for a letdown. And Stanford comes in here off of a really useless 10-point performance against Arizona State last week. Of course, the previous week they did beat Oregon, so that was the letdown spot. Now this is the bounce back spot. It's a great fade situation where Washington State is on their calendar. It's a great buy spot for where Stanford is on their calendar. And the Vegas odds makers agree with this insanely strong numerical average shift in the same stadium for Stanford. Official play -1, 1 unit. That wraps up my board. 7 p.m. Mississippi State hosting Alabama and Nick Saban off a loss. Guns, picks, comments, and an official.
Listen, you have Bama coming off a upset as a double-digit favorite to Texas A&M. Now they got to go on the road again, back-to-back road games, and got to go play at Mississippi State. Probably a louder environment, in my opinion, in this spot. They're going to be ringing cowbells. I got to have more cowbell. You got to look at this spot for Mississippi State. This is the game they circle on the calendar. They've gotten blown out year after year after year. This is probably the best defense Mississippi State has had. They only give up to their opponents, holding them to 89 yards per game on the rush, 3.3 yards per carry. And you got to look at who they played. Similar opponent, Texas A&M. What did Mississippi State do to Texas A&M? They beat them 26-22, held their offense at 297 yards. Overall, plus 141 for the game in net yards. Mississippi State is also coming off a bye. They're coming ready. They prepped for this game. They prepped for this spot. I don't think they expected Alabama to lose, but don't think that this Mississippi State Bulldog team, as a dog, is going to lay down for this Bama team. Also, got to look at Nick Saban. Nick Saban is 6-12 against the spread off a loss. Granted, he has covered his last 3. I think the line is too fat. I do think this is probably an 8 to 10 point game in this situation. You're getting 18 right now. So I'm going to be taking the Mississippi Bulldogs as a dog as the play, plus 18.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting take. Nothing official for me here, but of course, people are going to be really, really bullish on buying Alabama to bounce back off a loss. And we always do ask ourselves the question, is it just that easy? Will it be automatic when the other team is still sitting there in their home stadium waiting for what is really perennially the number 1 team in the country, the biggest high for any team to show up there? This is their home Super Bowl environment, and we shall see. Official from Guns, Mississippi State plus 17. Final play, 10 p.m., Pac-12, Utah hosting Arizona State. Herm Edwards and the boys go into Utah. Utah started off the campaign not particularly well this year. Are they turning a corner, Guns?
These teams are pretty much even. If you take away the home away field, you put them on a neutral field, this is going to be a slobber knocker. It's going to be great, like between these two teams. I think when you look at a common opponent, you got to look at BYU. BYU, they both played them. Arizona State beat them by 10. Utah beat them by 9. Now you got to look at the strength of schedule. Utah, 50th. Arizona State, 78. So there's a little bit of advantage on the Utah State side. So then you got to look at the home thing. I think the big difference here is the quarterback position. So we got a new quarterback in here, and they call him Cameron. I see the bad moon rising. He's 2-0 as a starter, and he dominated USC, getting 486 yards of total offense last week. Big spot for him. This game is basically a pick 'em right now. Grab it now before it hits the late slate. I think Utah, as a home team who plays well in this spot, 16-2 straight up at home. That's their record right now in 18 games. You're playing an Arizona State team, maybe playing a little bit too hot. I'm not taking anything away from this team. I just think Utah needs to prove out right now, especially with a new quarterback. Cameron rising to the top. Give me Utah, the Utes at home as a pick'em, as the play.
Love to see it, love to hear it, love to respect it, and love to dominate it. Wrapping up my official plays, a 5-pack starting at 2 p.m. in the MAC. Eastern Michigan +1. Miami of Ohio laying 19.5 points to Akron off of a win, believe it or not. Western Michigan bounced back off an awful conference home opener, first half -4. Fresno State to go into Wyoming off of, as we described before, a really outlierish event at Hawaii, -2.5 first half. Stanford Cardinals on the road at Wazoo -1. It is Guns Picks. It is Sharks and Sports. It is Friday, October 15, 2021. Week 7 is engaged. It is Knowledge for College. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, retweet, share, and discuss it in real life because we try to bring real life to the internet. The internet can be a bad place. It can be a great place. We try to make it the best place possible. Thanks for listening. Guns Picks. Give them a couple final words and shots out of your gun, sir.
Hey, let's just have a beautiful Saturday. If you want my top plays, you got to go to the GPO Lock channel. It's Guns Picked. It's odds Phil. It's lockbets.net. And guess what? I got 6 top plays for you. If you want to join up, hit me in the DMs. I'm coming back strong this week, and so is Sharky's Water Nation. So follow us along, like, retweet, share. This is this college football preview show to watch. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the other side. And as always, let's keep dancing. Yeah!